Alright, so we have just finished week 2 of my tracking, so a little bit of data coming together as you can see here from the spreadsheet. A few people have checked it out, which is really good. So I just wanted to run through a couple of metrics that we've picked up and having a look at the progress that's happened across the first couple of weeks. So as you can see, starting weight was 96.7. The end of the first week coming in at 95.3. So that's a pretty good result. Quite consistent with the nutrition and training from that week. So quite happy with that. As you can see in the second week, weight went up a tiny bit the next day. That's some 600 grams. It's not a huge fluctuation. But over the next week, 95.9. And then the final weight was 95.6. So not making as much progress over the course of the week. And in fact, up 300 grams from the end of the first week. So we're going to kind of delve into some of the metrics that we've picked up here and see what might be off and what we can kind of change to try and get a new result next week. So heart rate, the blood pressure, that's just out of interest. So we're going to come across here and we're going to look at the training. So I have a look at the activity. And what I've got is we've got the daily data, metrics here, and then I've also got some weekly averages across here as well. So just on weight, the average weight in the first week was 96.1 in the second week. So you can kind of see that things aren't or didn't really move across this second week. Here we also go across the training as well, and we don't have any borders here, which isn't great. But just looking at strength training, you can see there's actually an increase in strength training the second week. The program remained exactly the same. So I think that's probably just a matter of spending a little bit more time in the gym. Cardio, very similar. That's what I did the week before. So, probably not a huge amount that you can kind of pull out of that. I'll just go back to the daily tracking here. And you can see that the program overall looks pretty similar. So there's nothing too different in terms of activity. And that's not something I particularly want to change up. The steps as well, fairly consistent if you go across the averages. 10,631, 10,669. So very similar. And as a result, with the activity and the steps being quite similar, calories out are pretty much the same, 3,500. Calories in, slightly higher this week, up by about 40 calories. So there was a slight increase in protein intake, which can probably explain that, but we'll get to that in a second. The balance is coming in at an average of a 1,000 calorie deficit every single day. So like I mentioned the other week, I think the Fitbit overestimates expenditure just a little bit. But again, we'll let that go. Weight change 1.3 in the first week, up 0.3 in the second week. So the theoretical fat burn, my new equation, that was very good. Looks good, week 1. It should be similar in week 2, but it's not. So, that just needs a little bit more time to kind of test that out. Coming across to the macros, protein increased by about 30 grams. That was something that I tried to do. Carbohydrate intake down a touch by 14 grams, and then fat stayed relatively similar. So overall, an increase in calories because the protein's up by 30, the carbs are down by, let's call it 15. So it's about 15, grams increase in protein, which shouldn't have a huge, impact on weight, but maybe it's just a bit of a flat week. Sodium similar as well on the higher range. That's something that I'm quite interested to see. And looking at sleep, you'd probably say sleep was actually a little bit better in this second week, getting more REM sleep, rapid eye movement, up by about 25 minutes, almost half an hour, and also more deep sleep, up by 15 minutes there as well. The average sleep's up by 35 minutes too. So, that's good. That's interesting data to pull. Now, going back to the daily tracking, just keep in mind that this starts on the Friday and then finishes on a Thursday. So I tend to think of my week as Monday through Sunday. So any changes that I make to the diet will kind of kick off halfway through the week here. So one thing I've been focusing on this week is bumping up protein intake a little bit. And as you can see, 152, that wasn't much of an increase, but 203, 176, 171. So seeing the impact of those changes probably won't come through until next week's tracking. Will be interesting to see. And what I'm going to look at doing next week is bringing the carbohydrate intake down a little bit as well. So more around that 210 grams per day. And the fat will stay similar, around 90 grams per day. So looking forward to seeing what impact that has on the body composition over the next week. Weight, starting out at 96.6 down to 95.6, 1 kilo in 2 weeks is not a bad result. Obviously working towards, basically 6.6 kgs in 8 weeks. So I've got 6 weeks left to lose the best part of just a little bit more than 5.5 kilos. That's definitely an achievable goal. Seeing where energy balance is sitting with this level of physical activity and nutrition intake is really useful. And this is why the tracking challenge, or tracking your food and your training in the early stages of the program, is really important, because then you can make modifications to that and you have a really good idea of what that intake actually is. So there's definitely some data that's being picked up in this first 2 weeks where maybe the body composition progress hasn't been as anticipated, but that will really refine the program over the next few weeks. So still feeling confident. I mean, basically got to go to kilo a week, which will be hard, but there's still plenty of tricks to kind of pull in. If you look at the activity in terms of averaging, I'll have to go back here. There's only 4 resistance training sessions in there, so that could be an increase. The sessions are 25 to 30 minutes, essentially. Now, I only count the time from the first work set to the final work set. So I'm probably in the gym for another maybe 10 minutes on top of that, but not doing anything too intense. So there's definitely room to increase the volume of those training sessions. It's quite low. That's something else that I'm kind of testing over a longer period of time. But there is definitely capacity to increase that as well. Cardio, I only count specific cardio, so going for a run or going for a swim or something like that. I don't count walking as cardio, because that will be covered in the steps. So averaging, there wasn't one day, or there hasn't been one day so far we've actually done an hour's worth of training. It's kind of coming in somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes, just a little bit below. So I'd probably say about 40 minutes is the average. So there's definitely potential to increase that there. So we can increase the physical activity, therefore energy expenditure as well. And then looking nutritionally, like I mentioned, there's going to be a decrease in the carbohydrate intake over the next week. Protein will come up a little bit just to help, the feeling, make sure I'm staying full throughout the day. And then fat intake, which is about 90 grams, which isn't overly high. That's just below 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. That will probably come down a little bit as well. So there's plenty more variables to come. So I'll try and make a video every 2 weeks, if not every week. Probably every 2 weeks will give a little bit more, time for things to happen. But that can just keep you in the loop of what's going on and how I can use these metrics to kind of look at making changes to the training and the nutrition program, and then measuring those changes as they go in. So that's what I'm doing with clients, and it can be interesting to see. That is everything I will run through today. If you do have any questions, let me know. Just reply to the emails where you got this link from. And otherwise, I will talk to you soon. Bye.